10. The World Wars. World War I, a global conflict involving most of the world's major powers, triggered by the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria. It resulted in an estimated 9 million military deaths and 23 million wounded, with lasting impacts on geopolitics, technology, and society. World War II, an even more devastating conflict with wider participation, primarily fought between the Axis powers led by Germany, Italy, and Japan, and the Allied powers led by Great Britain, the Soviet Union, and the United States. It saw the use of atomic bombs for the first and only time in warfare, and led to an estimated 70 to 85 million deaths, including civilians. 9. The Industrial Revolution. Industrial Revolution, in modern history, the process of change from an agrarian and handicraft economy to one dominated by industry and machine manufacturing. This process began in Britain in the 18th century and from there spread to other parts of the world. Although used earlier by French writers, the term Industrial Revolution was first popularized by the English economic historian Arnold Toynbee to describe Britain's economic development from 1760 to 1840. This explains why some areas, such as China and India, did not begin their first industrial revolutions until the 20th century, while others, such as the United States and Western Europe, began undergoing second industrial revolutions by the late 19th century. 8. The French Revolution. The French Revolution was a period of major social upheaval that began in 1787 and ended in 1799. It sought to completely change the relationship between the rulers and those they governed and to redefine the nature of political power. There were many reasons. The bourgeoisie, merchants, manufacturers, professionals, had gained financial power but were excluded from political power. Those who were socially beneath them had very few rights, and most were also increasingly impoverished. The monarchy was no longer viewed as divinely ordained. When the king sought to increase the tax burden on the poor and expand it to classes that had previously been exempt, revolution became all but inevitable. 7. The American Revolution. The American Revolution, also called the U.S. War of Independence, was the insurrection fought between 1775 and 1783 through which 13 of Great Britain's North American colonies threw off British rule to establish the sovereign United States of America, founded with the Declaration of Independence in 1776. British attempts to assert greater control over colonial affairs after a long period of salutary neglect, including the imposition of unpopular taxes, had contributed to growing estrangement between the Crown and a large and influential segment of colonists who ultimately saw armed rebellion as their only recourse. 6. The Scientific Revolution. Drastic change in scientific thought that took place during the 16th and 17th centuries. A new view of nature emerged during the Scientific Revolution, replacing the Greek view that had dominated science for almost 2000 years. Science became an autonomous discipline, distinct from both philosophy and technology, and it came to be regarded as having utilitarian goals. Out of the ferment of the Renaissance and Reformation there arose a new view of science, bringing about the following transformations: the re-education of common sense in favor of abstract reasoning, the substitution of a quantitative for a qualitative view of nature, the view of nature as a machine rather than as an organism, the development of an experimental, scientific method that sought definite answers to certain limited questions couched in the framework of specific theories, and the acceptance of new criteria for explanation, stressing the how, rather than the why, that had characterized the Aristotelian search for final causes. 5. The discovery of the Americas. In 1492, Christopher Columbus's historic voyage across the Atlantic Ocean opened up a new chapter in world history. Sponsored by Spain, Columbus aimed to find a western route to Asia but instead stumbled upon the Americas. This event sparked a transformative era known as the Age of Exploration. It initiated the Columbian Exchange, a vast exchange of goods, ideas, cultures, and diseases between the Old World and the New World. While it brought new crops to Europe and facilitated global trade, it also led to the exploitation and suffering of indigenous populations through displacement, enslavement, and the spread of diseases that devastated their communities. The discovery of the Americas by Columbus had profound and far-reaching consequences. It spurred European exploration and colonization across the globe, reshaping trade routes and establishing links between continents. 4. The printing press. The invention of the printing press had a profound and enduring impact on human civilization. It democratized access to knowledge, transformed education, fueled cultural and intellectual movements, and accelerated the spread of ideas, ultimately paving the way for the modern information age. The printing press is considered one of the most influential inventions in human history, shaping the way information is disseminated and shared even in today's digital age. 3. The spread of Islam. The people of the Islamic world created numerous sophisticated centers of culture and science with far-reaching mercantile networks, travelers, scientists, hunters, mathematicians, doctors, and philosophers. Historians distinguish between two separate strands of converts of the time. One is animists and polytheists of tribal societies of the Arabian Peninsula and the Fertile Crescent. The other is the monotheistic populations of the Middle Eastern agrarian and urbanized societies. The Arab conquerors generally respected the traditional Middle Eastern pattern of religious pluralism with regard to the conquered populations, respecting the practice of other faiths in Arab territory, although widespread conversions to Islam came about as a result of the breakdown of historically religiously organized societies. 2. The rise of the Roman Empire. Ancient Rome is remembered for its supreme power, advanced engineering, military successes, religious customs, entertainment, and its brutality. Whatever your view of ancient Rome, you can't deny that its international rule had wide-scale effects on our development. Beginning in the 8th century BC, ancient Rome grew from a small town on central Italy's Tiber River into an empire that at its peak encompassed most of continental Europe, Britain, much of Western Asia, Northern Africa, and the Mediterranean islands. After 450 years as a major republic, Rome became an empire in the wake of Julius Caesar's rise and fall in the 1st century BC. With such a long and complex history spanning across different continents, the Roman Empire can be hard to trace. In order to distinguish its rise and fall, we must first go back to its beginnings. 1. The Agricultural Revolution. The Agricultural Revolution, spanning roughly from 8000 BC to 4000 BC, represents a pivotal moment in human history when nomadic societies transitioned from hunting and gathering to settled agricultural lifestyles. The Agricultural Revolution marked a fundamental turning point in human history, laying the groundwork for the development of civilizations and fundamentally altering human lifestyles and societies. It led to the establishment of agriculture as the primary means of sustenance, paving the way for future technological advancements and shaping the trajectory of human civilization.